Hello, Margarita here, activator for the new code of power. And I am so excited for today's Rise Up with Margarita show. So every week on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, I show up to really help those light leaders who are stepping up and really being those leaders of light, shifting that paradigm of power on the planet, really help them give those tools so that they can rise up to that next level of their power. So if you can tell, I got a little, I got some sun when I was out in Mexico. I was there in Holbox, Mexico, and it was a really special, it's a special island. And there's kind of a process to actually get to it and to come back to, the mainland proper of Mexico. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that because today's topic specifically is 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth. And so I got a huge amount of downloads, a lot of shifting on the cellular level, and a lot of things that is also going to start to be visible and even more felt in my social media, in my transmissions, in my lives, and also, of course, in my deeper work with my private clients, because that's really where it gets reflected the most. So I wanted to welcome you to the uh, the Rise Up show this week because last week we didn't have one because I was out and about at Holbox, Mexico with my mastermind, because I do prioritize really being surrounded by a high level community that challenges me, that holds me high. And of course, that's also with my coach as well, because it's important to have that. Just because you have a coach, it's really interesting. Just one observation that I've noticed is that a lot of light workers will be like, well, I already know what I'm doing, and I don't need help. That would mean I'm weak or something like that. And the reality is, when you actually claim getting mentorship and getting coaching, it actually just accelerates you. It's not about weakness or being stronger than anybody. It's just about getting your tools and accelerating faster. It's about, will you allow yourself to receive so that you can accelerate and be more authentically in your path faster, because that way you can have more joy, more health and wealth and light in your life. And, it's really all about being in that expansive field. So, hello, saying hello to some of the folks who are popping in. Zachary, Kelly's here, Lillian, Spirit Healing Yoga, seeing Jazzy Lambeau, saying I'm glowing. Thank you so much. And Ella is here as well. So, yeah, love from India. Good to have you here. And I believe Mona Tiwari, good to have you here. So, yeah, so a lot of powerful downloads and a lot of really interesting observations. And I just knew I wanted to, really share that with you because, of course, I had the plan. I wanted to bring my tripod, but it was a little bit too big to fit in, even though it was a travel tripod. I had all these like these grand visions of me taking like epic footage on like the beach and like getting all this footage and all this amazing stuff and creating these massive, amazing, prolific reels. And of course, none of that really happened because I was extremely present with the experience. And also, it was very busy. It was a very chock full itinerary, I'll say. And then we would start early the next morning with more, right? So it was more like a lot of internal upgrades. I was able to capture some stuff that I'm going to look through and hopefully make some reels out of so that it can really help you experience this vibe because it was really powerful. So here's what's coming in for the leaders of the new earth right now. So I'm just going to start there because this topic today, it's all about what I learned for, as being an empowered leader for the new earth and how that gets to look like, and some really powerful codes that came in through Mexico, specifically Holbox, because it's actually an island off the coast of Mexico. So what's coming in for the leaders of light now? The leaders of the new earth. We are being invited to surrender and trust beyond what we know and to learn to be flexible and be open to what is next for our calling. And so, if you've been following me for a while, I talk a lot about what's next for you, opening up into that, opening up into trust, and what is really being called forward for us, for those of us who are empowered leaders here for the new earth. It's really about going beyond what we've known, like beyond what you think you could trust, going beyond that and trusting that. Like having complete, like sometimes those places where you're complete mystery, you have no idea what's going to come through, you don't know what's going to happen next. Trusting there, like trusting beyond what's reasonable to trust anymore. Like that is something we are all being invited to enter into an experience. We're also being required to upgrade our frequency at higher levels. And the reason why this is important, it's not just about high vibes only, which I know is kind of like people love to say just high vibes only, that kind of thing, but it's just literally, that's just scratching the surface. The reason why high frequency vibrations are super important right now is because when you are not in that frequency, and this is not about if you're good or bad or, that kind of thing. That's about polarity and judgment. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is when you're functioning from a higher level frequency, you are no longer accessible from lower density frequencies. And so anything where you're kind of like, in turmoil, and I get it, we all experience that at some time and we all get to move through that, right? But I'm talking about when that becomes the way that you function through life, then you are functioning from a lower density frequency, right? When you are operating from higher density vibration and frequency, that lower density frequency can no longer, it's simply not, it cannot meet you at that level. And so what then you end up creating, because wherever you're at is what you're creating more of, right? So again, there's no judgment here about that. It's more like wherever you're at, right? And you're creating more of that. So the reason why we're being invited, I'll say, to upgrade into a frequency at higher levels and really operate in our life from that higher frequency is because it will actually provide us access to that higher power that, we're all connected to God if you allow that, right? But what I'm talking about is then you start having access to the fruits, to that kingdom of God. There's actually kingdom of God codes that we are, for those of us who are doing that work and who are opening ourselves up into that higher frequency on a regular basis, you're actually opening yourself up to accessing these higher frequency codes. And when you do that, you also access more power, right? So, just to kind of give you an example of this, right? Some people have asked me, well, sometimes they get a little discouraged when they're still opening up into their path. Maybe they've just awakened up into their spiritual path, and then they see someone like me who I'm just like, blowing up, right? And it can feel discouraging when you're just beginning. But the point is everyone starts somewhere. I started at the same point as everyone else. Anyone you see that you admire has all started at the very same point. Okay, and it's all a matter of upgrading your frequency, doing the clearings that are required so that you're no longer holding on to old trauma, the trauma matrix, if you will, because there's a programming and a matrix around that. And so it's really about just up leveling, going higher and higher and higher, and that requires doing the hard shit. All the shit you're trying to avoid, that is the shit you need to do. And for me, I've just been in through it much earlier, much longer, for a longer period of time, and that's why I'm at where I'm at, right? But anyone can open up into that for themselves. You can open that into that for yourself. And so that does require opening up into those tough situations, like stepping up, staying consistent, choosing yourself at every single given moment, right? And, you want the power. Power comes with responsibility, and just like Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's super important to remember because, Can you imagine if like all of the power was just handed to people who were just completely irresponsible or who were in such deep trauma that they were just like, you know, taken out of center at every given moment? Can you imagine the chaos that would arise from that? No, the power gets augmented, awakened, embodied when you are at that higher level for a reason. Because by that point, you have done deep work on yourself. You have stood in the fire of your transformation, and you stand in that fire, and you allow yourself to be alchemized, right? And then when you have gone through all of that intensity and you're still standing and you're still saying yes to yourself, you start to prove yourself to yourself, number one, and then you show that you're going to be responsible with that higher frequency, right? So that's why it's super important to really upgrade your frequency, not just for high vibes, but because wherever you're headed and where we're going as a collective for the new earth, it's going to require those who can really stand in that, right? Also, what's coming in for the leaders of New Earth now? We are being asked to commit at new levels of being beyond what we've ever committed to before. So whatever you felt was super challenging that you had committed to before, you get to commit to something higher now. You get to commit to something bigger than what you thought was already big. Like maybe you've accomplished what you committed yourself to have, to experience, to flow into. Now we all get to experience a new level. So what does that look for you, kind of thing, right? And Zachary is saying at a certain point, certain low frequency experiences simply can't show up when we're at a higher frequency in a way that's true to the flow. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like literally, those who are holding that higher frequency vibrations, like the all that lower stuff, all that stuff that just pulls you down, and it's not that you don't experience challenges, right? It's not that. It's just that it literally cannot live in the same level once you're at a certain level of frequency. It can't hang out there, so you can still be upset. Like, I mean, there were like, I'm going to share with you some things where I was like I thought I was going to have a moment going to Mexico, right? I'm going to share that with you, and how that was one of the 5 things Mexico taught me about being a leader of the new earth, right? It's not that you don't experience your challenges. It's just that it doesn't take you out anymore. You just figure things out. Like that's what leaders do. They figure things out. They don't say, "Oh, this is a sign from the universe. It's a sign from my guides. I just pulled a card from my tarot deck and it's telling me that this is not for me." It's like, no, that's not what it's telling you, right? Challenges are not messages from your guides to give up. Challenges are necessary opportunities that you get to take advantage of to figure it out so that you can rise to the next level. That's what a challenge is. That's what a challenge is, right? So, getting to the point here, the topic today being 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth. Number 1, surrender. Okay, I've talked about surrender like ad nauseum, but it's really like a level of surrender that you get to embody, right? So for me, what that looked like, it was a new level, right? Because Holbox is an island, like I told you. To get to this island, you need to take a ferry. To get to the ferry, you need to take a shuttle. To take the shuttle, you need to get to the airport. So there was all these pieces, and you had to book this and then book that, and then you might miss this if the timing's not right, and we don't know how much it costs and all this other stuff, right? And so like I love when things are streamlined. That's how I run my business. That's how I run what I do, so that things are just flowing, right? Like I love things streamlined. So you can imagine when I was hearing all this stuff about, oh, who knows? Maybe it'll get there, maybe it won't, maybe, you need to be there before sundown, maybe you don't. You know, that was just like, I was like not excited about that part of the experience, right? So, and I love this. Zachary, you're on it. Problems are always encoded with their solutions. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutamente, 100%. Okay. So, and then there was also an unknown itinerary, right? Like, I mean, there was a little bit of like, okay, pack this and pack that. But who knows? Maybe we'll go hiking in the mountains, but I couldn't take my hiking boots, like because it was like already very full. So, as you can imagine, there's always opportunity for me to get in my head, right? And so there was a moment where I was kind of getting to that precipice of like, oh my God, what's going on? Right. And so, because it wasn't streamlined, it wasn't like predictable, and so I was like, mm, am I even going to get to that island? Or am I going to be stuck outside of the hotel because no one's there? Because we're on like a secluded island, right? Like, so, I mean, I was creating all kinds of scenarios that weren't even happening yet. I was I was creating all these kinds of scenarios, and they were all so ridiculous, right? So just letting you know, it's not that I'm immune to questioning the mystery, right? It's not that I'm immune, but what happened is that I'm like, it's all happening. It's all going to happen perfectly. I trust. I'm surrendering that it's going to be all perfect. And so once I got to the airport, I found amongst like the myriads and hordes of people, I found my shuttle. And then at the shuttle, and actually, mind you, my shuttle got canceled while I was in mid-flight. So while I was in a connecting, getting my lunch in Charlottesville, North Carolina, waiting for my connecting flight, I like just ran and booked another shuttle, right? So it's like where can you get resourceful? Where can you figure things out? Right. And so that's immediately where I went. Right. And part of that, yes, was the logic, but logic can only take you so far. It was also dropping into the heart of like, okay, what's needed right now? What do I need to do in this moment? What do I get to surrender to? And so that's my number one thing that I want to share with you, that one of the things that I got to deepen about, as a result of going to Mexico, that taught me about being even more empowered as a leader of the new earth is number one, surrender. Okay. Everything worked out and it was like better than amazing, right? Hi, Linda. Good to see you here. She's here from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. Good to see you. Um, so, yeah, number two, being truly open to the medicine here before me, right? That was one of the biggest things Mexico also taught me. So Mexico has deep earth medicine and particularly Mayan codes, okay? Mayan codes that I now carry, that I've now embodied, that I downloaded. There were a lot of power activation work as part of the mastermind, but also part of my being that my avatar self was, downloading into me, that was coming in through the sun. I mean, I was getting it from Gaia, because she knew she wanted me to be there, and because I talk with her every day, and she's part of the work that I do, right? As part of a star seed, as a leader of the new earth, I connect with her on a regular basis. So knowing that wherever you're at carries deep, deep medicine. And so for me, being in Mexico, like I just really embraced that big time. I mean, we had certain ceremonies, there were certain codes around gold, around time and wealth, our connections on the earth, here as creators, and being open to the medicine and however it comes, because the medicine will not always look glamorous. It will not. If you're expecting all the medicine, all the high vibes to come in as pure love and light and everything feels good and everything feels streamlined, it doesn't look that way, all right? Codes come in when you allow yourself to receive, to embody, to open into, and medicine comes in all forms. And you need to be open and receptive to the aligned medicine that is here for you. And I would even say wherever you're at. So, wherever you're at right now, like wherever you live, you are receiving medicine from that land. You are receiving medicine. They are receiving your medicine from being on that land. And so it's super important. And of course, I was consciously heading over to Holbox, Mexico for those codes of that land. And, I received it. It's now integrated in my system. Um, it's encoded in my DNA. It's upgraded my DNA, and I just received Guy's medicine in full. There were certain ceremonies too, from a woman who carries Mayan codes there, who lives there. She's Mayan herself. And one of the things that she noticed about me, because she shared a little something with each person who she did some clearing on, and she was like, wow, you're super powerful, right? And that wasn't the first time I've heard that, right? The important reason why I'm sharing this with you is because whatever you're bringing to the table, that is medicine for the land that you're on, and you get to receive the medicine from the land that you're on as well, and you get to take that in. That gets to upgrade you. So being truly open to the medicine that is here before you, that is number 2. And I definitely did that. I opened into the medicine of Gaia's womb there at Holbox. It was powerful and perfect. Number 3, upgrading my commitment to a new frequency. So this is something that, I downloaded many new codes about my body, about the body wisdom, deeper levels of healing, deeper access to higher frequencies that I didn't have access to before, deepening my understanding and embodiment of codes that I already have, and and deeper connections with Gaia. And then of course what that then means in what I exude in the world, and the impact that I get to have in the world in a deeper way. And someone's saying like a give and take, right? It's reciprocal. There's harmony, and when there's oneness, there is harmony, right? It's not like I take from you, you take from me, but there's a reciprocation of light. It's like a cycle of light, if you will, that just you become a generator of light, right? When you're really embodied in your power, you become a generator of light. And that's something that I provide like wherever I go. But that's also something that I teach my private clients on that deeper level in the deep one-on-one work. So that was number 3, upgrading my commitment to a new frequency. So whatever that was, and I committed to so many things, to myself about my body, about my experience, about what is next for me this year. Like I made big commitments, and for some, they were all about like, where we're living, how much money I'm making, the kind of clients I'm bringing in, the flow that I get to have in my life and in my business, right? Like I committed to all kinds of levels for myself while I was there. And you get to have that too. You get to commit to upgrading your new frequency in that way. Number 4, receiving. I talk about this a lot with you, right? I talk about receiving often, and that is because so many light workers are still, that's still kind of like a weak link for them, where they don't really allow themselves to receive. They don't allow themselves to receive love, time to prioritize themselves. They don't allow themselves to receive money, right? Like they'll spend all this amount of money on like people they love, but when it comes to them, they feel guilty and they have all these kinds of, stories and issues that don't even exist, right? And so that's one, like if there's one place that you want a super breakthrough right now, that's in receiving, okay? So that's why it's number 4, receiving. So for me, it was really about, whether it was a new delicious cuisine, I was trying out their cuisine, and so much there is made with love, and you can really taste that. That's a frequency, right? So, deeper friendships with my mastermind colleagues, high frequency expressions of love, a new way of opening into your vision, new levels of wealth and embodiment. I learned to receive it all even more fully, right? I mean, I was already receiving fully, and then I got to go to a new level of receiving. And if you're not getting triggered by your level of receiving, you're doing it wrong, okay? Because, when you're really challenging yourself and opening yourself to new levels, it will always guaranteed feel scary. So if you are not scared by the level of receiving you are doing, if you are not feeling a little bit triggered by how much receiving you are allowing yourself to receive and take in and embrace, then you're not receiving enough. I'll just say that. Star Soul says, oof, the allowing yourself to receive really called me out. Yeah, you're not alone. So I'm not calling you out with like, a pointed finger or something. I'm just saying, I see you, right? Like I see you. It's just, you're not alone. Okay. So just saying that. Yes, Lisa, she's saying hello from Idaho. Felipe is saying, thank you so much for your service. I got to step up even more. Your message is so important for me. I'm from Brazil. That's so amazing. Yeah, so it's like a worldwide thing. It really is. And like no matter where you're at, you can apply these principles, right? So that was number 4, receiving. So get triggered with your receiving, my dear. That's what I recommend. You're not getting triggered, you're not receiving enough. So that was number 4. Number 5, opening into deep flow. So this was probably one of my bigger challenges because all the other stuff I've mentioned, like I do that all the time already, right? And the flow, like I'm always opening into that, but this was like a new level, okay? And I'm going to share this with you because this is how it gets to look for you too. What I mean by opening into deep flow. So on the portal of 2/22/22, last Tuesday, I was out, on the beautiful beaches of Mexico. I was receiving upgrades and downloads. I was eating delicious food. And in the meantime, my sales team just brought in a new client, a new high-end, high-level client, right? That happened when I was out enjoying myself with my colleagues and receiving deep care, deep love, deep high frequency vibrations, right? That's what I mean by flow, right? It doesn't need to be hard. Bringing in aligned clients doesn't need to be hard. Opening up into your wealth and abundance doesn't need to be hard, right? And another day, like I think that was Thursday, we were out on a catamaran on the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, we were going to this sacred, island to do some more work there, and I actually did some more work there for Gaia. When I was on that catamaran, my sales team again brought in another high-end, aligned, amazing client who I get to serve. And I mean, I'm super excited about serving these people, right? And and that's how it gets to look like. You get to take care of yourself and be in your flow, enjoy yourself, have pleasure, and have money just come in, right? You don't need to be suffering. All that suffering bullshit is like so old paradigm. If you're still believing that you need to suffer and you need to toil and you need to work into the bone in order to be a powerful light worker and make impact and be a leader for the new earth, let that shit go. Let it go because that's not even real. That's not even true anymore. Back when back when the patriarchy still had a handle on things, because hint, it doesn't, it's lost control completely, right? So, like even sourcing the patriarchy, which I know a lot of, newbies on the path love to do, like they love to criticize the patriarchy. It's like, dude, it's dead. Yeah, stop bringing it to life, right? So important. Yeah, I love what someone else here is saying. Work so hard is masculine energy, right? And also masculine energy, not a bad thing. You should be embodied in your masculine, in your divine masculine. The divine masculine holds structure, holds stability, holds the foundation, creates the foundation. And then the divine feminine is the one that like permeates essence into the structure, and then together they create life. Okay, that's how creation begins. And so you cannot have you cannot have creation without divine feminine. You cannot have creation without divine masculine, right? I love this. Valerie's saying this live is freaking fuego. Yes, it is fire, my dear, because that is that's what I'm bringing. That's what I'm bringing for you. Okay, because this is It's all true, right? So this is why I'm sharing this with you, not to be like, oh my God, like, I don't have this in place and all that. Let this inspire you, all right? Let this inspire you. And if this is bringing up anything in you, and know that it is actually there's part of you that resonates with that because it's possible for you too. Okay? So if you're feeling that, allow yourself to transform that into gratitude that you are on your way to experiencing that as well, right? Because that's what we get to have. We get to have deep flow, all right? We get to have deep flow where we are enjoying ourselves in the pleasure of our life, eating delicious foods. I was on that freaking catamaran with fresh, like, star fruit and pineapple and mango and drinking mimosas and champagne, right? And and during that moment, I was like receiving a brand new, amazing, high end, like enrollment, a new aligned client into one of my programs, right? That's how it gets to be. It gets to be easy. It gets to be flowy. And and that also happens because you trust the flow. And, there's this saying in Tagalog, bahala na, right? It's like go with the gods, basically kind of like it is what it is, right? And that's kind of like where you get to go when it comes to this kind of stuff, because it's like if you're trying to micromanage everything, it's good luck with that, all right? Micromanaging anything, trying to control anything, that is from fear. That's from fear of, if I do not control this situation, this person, this experience, I will not get what I want. I will not get what I need. I will be left behind, right? It goes deep, y'all. So just acknowledge where that's coming up for you if that comes up for you, okay? So that was number 5. So these were the 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth. So just to recap, number 1, surrender. Number 2, being truly open to the medicine that is here before you. Number 3, upgrading your commitment to a new frequency. Number 4, receiving. Receive, receive, receive to the point that it triggers the F out of you, okay? Number 5, opening into deep flow, to knowing that your power gets to be pleasurable. You get to enjoy yourself. We get to enjoy ourselves. New Earth is not about drudgery and about suffering. I mean, all that stuff with sacrifice, that, like, first of all, that wasn't a thing in the first place, okay? That was just something humans thought that we needed to do because they didn't know what to do with the blue avians and all those other people that were coming down and helping them, right? That's what we created. That wasn't even like a thing, right? So just know sacrifice is not a thing anymore. Suffering is not a thing anymore. Let all that go. So here's how knowing these will help you. Be a leader, empowered for the new earth. So opening up into these higher frequency codes will allow you to access new levels of being, which I shared with you before. Also, in terms of my work, I'll be continuing to provide like my free stuff as I always do, like on social media, my lives, my YouTube videos, my blog posts on my website. And also, my chakra healing book, it's not free, but it's like, I think $12 or something like that. And, it's on Amazon. So if you want that and you want to open up into that and you want to start opening up into something, then start there, right? And then, in terms of my deep one-on-one private work, though, it's upgrading. It's upgrading. And those who are, stepping into deeper one-on-one work with me, keep in mind, I do not do single sessions. I am not that type of, healer person. Not like that's bad, right? Because I still provide acupuncture and Reiki sessions in person only. But for the deeper private one-on-one work, I'm really here to assist those leaders of the new earth who are stepping up now to activate the light and empowerment on the planet. So that's really through the mentorship and the deep activation work that I do. It's just kind of proliferating through all the deep stuff that I do. So that's the deep one-on-one private work that I am now going to be infusing these codes, these Mayan codes, transformation. I'm going to be putting it, I'm dumping all of that juiciness into my deep work with my private clients. And if you're not there yet, because I know that I've gotten some DMs from people saying, well, I'm really not there yet. What do you have for me? Well, one thing I can say is even though maybe you might not be a candidate for the deeper one-on-one work just yet, I do have packages, for people who are still opening up into that. And so my packages are really designed to really help you up level. They're also lifetime access. So once you got them, it's yours for life. So it's always chock full with like recordings, activations, MP3s, some of it depending on what package you decide to get. There's also some training in there. I think both, or there's a couple of them that have master classes in there too. So I do include trainings. And so these packages are really developed to help you clear out those trauma frequencies, those karmic ties. That stuff is really important to do. And then also there's tools and activations and trainings there to up level your frequency and your vibrations so that you can connect with your higher self much more easily, because that's super important. It's really hard and difficult to create when you're not creating from an aligned place, when you are not connected to your higher self, when you are not connected with your heart, and when you are not connected with what you are here to create. And also, to be honest, if you're not connected to your niche, right? Like your target audience. And that's something that I help my private clients get deeper on so that they can really be like super focused with who they're serving. Because when you're super focused with who you're serving, they will find you, you will find them, and then you will serve them highly, right? Because you're working with your codes, your specific frequencies, because you do have them. Whether or not they're developed, it's another thing, right? But you do have very specific codes that only you have, that no one else has, right? Absolutely. I love these feedbacks you're providing. Um, yeah. So, any questions about the things that I covered, about these 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth? Let me know if you have any questions about any of the content I just shared, specifically about that. And in the meantime, if any of this has inspired you and you are ready to receive those upgrades, to receive that support, accountability, that acceleration into what's next for you as a visionary light worker, a leader for the new earth, and you're already connected with your heart and your purpose, and you're ready for that type of next level high-end support, DM me what your powerful vision is, what your powerful purpose is, and let's talk, because it's going to be, we're all in it together, okay? So spoiler alert, we're all in this together. I'm all this stuff that we're experiencing right now, again, just the tip of the iceberg. So many things are not revealed. I recommend to, just for the sake of your nervous system, make sure you take advantage of your supplements, right? Take advantage of like high quality CBD tinctures. And if you've been checking out my stories, I share, what they are for me, the ones that I take, to really help recalibrate your nervous system, because there's a lot of misinformation being shared with you. Like even just the stuff that's happening in current events, it's not the whole story, So I will speak more into these things when I know more, because like literally I was in a different vortex and timeline. So I'm coming back into, the integrated field, so to speak. And I'll speak into that. But until then, what I will say is really pay attention to where you're putting your energy. Okay, because everything that's showing up right now, like it's not the whole truth. Okay, it's not the whole truth. You are a lot more empowered than you believe that you are. You are more powerful than you think you are. And a lot of these mechanisms that are being spewed out into our community, into our collective, is designed to make you believe that you don't have power with what's going on in the world, which is full on BS. Okay, full on BS. You totally have the power to shift the frequency of what's going on in the world, no matter what it appears on the outside. And the reason why I recommend that you do, however you do, whether it be with me or someone else or in another way, I encourage you to allow yourself to be supported, to accelerate in a high way, because where we're headed, again, a lot's going to be revealed. And if you're not prepared, you may get taken out, like it may make you get taken out of center, so to speak, right? And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to have the tools that you need so that you're centered, you're grounded. So whatever you think what is going on right now is shit hitting the fan, it's not. This is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. So ground yourself in, dig into your foundations, clear the old paradigm from your body, mind, soul, spirit, heart, your embodiment, and get into that next level of frequency for yourself. So like I said, whether it's me or someone else or something that resonates for you, do it. Go get it, because where we're headed, we need it. And not only that will you need it, but because you've got really powerful special codes that no one else has, that helps the planet heal when you embody them, you are also going to be part of the remedy of the healing of this new earth. Okay? You will be part of what creates this new earth when you allow yourself to be embodied in your power. And from there, you will be able to assist others, because I guarantee that although some people will get with it, a lot more will have a tougher time. I'll just put it that way. There will be a lot more who will have a tougher time when these bigger things get revealed. Okay. So that is why really open into your frequency. What's next for you? Go beyond the veil. All right. Go beyond, MSM and all this stuff that is being spoon fed into your nervous system. Take your power back. Stop watching the lies. Start embodying your power. Start focusing on yourself. Stop getting distracted by all the bullshit and focus on yourself. Okay? So, my loves, I don't see any questions here. I see some comments of confirmation. I'm seeing yeses, but I don't see any questions around what I've shared today. So, sounds like you're good. Judy says, thank you very much for this message. You're welcome. I hope it was helpful. So if you're just joining us right now, today's live, the topic was the 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth. And so I shared about number 1, surrender. Number 2, being truly open to the medicine before you. Number 3, upgrading your commitment to a new frequency. Number 4, receiving. And number 5, opening and deepening your flow. Okay. So I'm seeing here someone else is saying, eyes on our own paper. Yeah. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Stop getting distracted with all the, comparisonitis, all the like, oh, look what they're doing and compared to what I'm doing. Stop that. Stop it. Because that's not going to serve you. And not only that, stop getting distracted by all the stuff that's going on. What you're being shown is not the full truth. Okay. And so instead of, bringing your nervous system, instead of frazzling it out, focus on, meditation, deepening your meditation practice. Get those supplements that will feed your nervous system, that will energize you, that will nourish you deeply. Be very diligent about who you're surrounding yourself with, about the frequencies, the people, the places you're surrounding yourself with, and allow yourself to have criteria of who you allow in your energy field. Because like I've said many times before, the 5 closest people in your life are directly informing your energy. And take an inventory, right? If they are feeding you, lifting up your light, if they are lifting you high, supporting you in your path, those are keepers, right? If they are jealous of you, if they're, saying that your dreams are full of crap, if they are saying, oh, you'll never make that, right? Like, it might be time to reevaluate those things. Not to say that you need to cut people off, unless that would truly serve you. But just like take an inventory is all I'm saying. Okay. Take an inventory. Yeah. So, and the meditation, the reason I recommend that is because the war is on your consciousness. And if you're always getting taken out, if you're always getting stuck in your head and you're not connecting with your heart and you're not developing your connection with your higher self, it is a lot easier for you to get taken out. All right. So when you meditate, you focus on yourself, you connect with yourself, right? All right, so I'm seeing a question here. Can you detail more about your offerings? For instance, I'm a card deck creator and I'm looking for logistical building spiritual business help. Do you suggest meditations for that? Ways to open myself? So in regards to the offerings, I don't have enough time, like really, in this broadcast, in this episode today, to go into all that. And really the best way to, check out what all of that is really about is to hop on a call with one of my coaches and get the real nitty gritty, because then they'll share with you what it's all about, right? But just to kind of, in a nutshell, my offerings are really focused on activating your divine power codes on the DNA level. Like, it's literally a cellular awakening that I provide. And I own that, right? Like, because it's beyond like a Reiki treatment, it's beyond acupuncture, and don't get me wrong, those are highly effective for so many things. Because I'm a licensed acupuncturist, I'm a Reiki master teacher, I provide that in my private practice. But what is really being called forward, and what I'm being called forward to do more of, is my power activation and mentorship work. So the work that I do, the activations I perform, will literally upgrade your DNA. It will upgrade your DNA. It will upgrade your cellular body. It will help you get embodied versus a cerebral understanding that, oh yeah, I'm a powerful person. Shifting that from I'm a powerful person because I know I am, versus I am embodied in my power because I am all that is, right? That's a whole different playing field. And that's what my work does. And then the mentorship is a long-term support and accountability from me, where I help you with not only developing your spiritual power, because one thing that I notice, one of the byproducts I'll say that I learned is that a lot of my private clients, they actually find out they have new abilities by doing deeper work with me. They find out they have new talents and abilities, and I help them develop that. And also helping them embody their power on the spiritual level and implementing that on the earthly plane, so that you are not one of those broke ass light workers, right? Because if you want to stay there, that's perfectly fine. I'm here to serve those leaders of light who are ready to go to that next level, who are ready to be that spiritually conscious entrepreneur. So yes, I do provide strategy, high-end, aligned, accountable strategy, and I'm there to be that accountability for you, to help you create, right? So that can be like talking about a card deck. It could be from like, what is aligned, what is the essence of this new card deck that is coming forward for you, for instance. It could look like, okay, am I aligned with my clients? Am I connected to who my ideal client is? And if not, that's where we would start too. Because if you don't know who your ideal client is, if you don't know who you're specifically serving, and that's something I help you get really clear on, because if you don't know that, all of your messaging, every single piece is going to be flat. Every single piece. You want to know why my reels do so well? It's not because, people think I'm cute or they like how I dance, or, even though I don't really dance that much on these things. They like it and they get engaged because it resonates. And if your content does not resonate with your ideal client, then you are not tapped in enough, right? You're not tapped in enough to your message. You're not tapped in enough to your ideal client. And without that, you're not going to be able to really bring them in, because they won't be able to find you. So getting super, super clear on that is very important. Yes, and to more abundance, exactly. Because when you do things and you structure things that are aligned, like, I can teach you how to make launches. I can teach you how to, structure your offerings in ways that bring in abundance at a deeper level, that are more appealing to your ideal client, so that they'll be like, oh my God, I need this, versus, I think I'll touch on that when I feel like it, right? That's the difference between it being a priority to your ideal client and it being a nice to have for your client. So, and the reality is that your work, and I'm speaking to not only the person who asked me this question, but also to each and every one of you, your work is specifically important to the planet and very unique to you. And all of this work is virtual, because when you know that energy is energy, it doesn't matter if it's in person or not. Because I have clients who, came from Botswana, who are in Brazil, who came in from the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and yeah, some of them were in New York City, but I also have some who are in Arizona and who are, in Washington and in Hawaii, right? It doesn't matter, right? And because energy is energy. And when you really connect with that, you know that there's no difference between in person and virtual. So I hope that helped. Someone's asking, do I still offer Reiki teaching? So as I mentioned in one of, like, I don't know, I think it was 2 reels ago, I did mention that I led a really powerful Reiki attunement. I do not teach Reiki that much anymore, because my focus is on the power activations, because again, that is more potent than all of these modalities. Like, they're all important, they're all potent. The power activations, they work at the speed of the new earth. Okay. And so it works a lot more quickly. It's a lot more accelerated. You get physical upgrades faster. And I get it, the whole activation thing is a little bit kind of new talk, so to speak, but this is because this is what's coming in for the earth. So I only do Reiki attunements anymore for my private clients, which is what I did last Saturday. So 2 Saturdays ago, I held a Reiki attunement training for some of my private clients. And that's all that I really do that for anymore, because as I said, my focus is on this higher power activation work. But thank you for asking. It's good to know. It's good to have these questions. So thank you for asking these questions. And if you're just popping in now, make sure you check out the replay. Today's topic was 5 things Mexico taught me about being an empowered leader for the new earth. And so, yeah, just came in from Holbox, Mexico, which is why, and just a funny thing here, like I was like, having that native blood, I was like, yeah, awesome, I'm gonna get that native tan. And then I forgot, oh yeah, I also got that white blood, right? That burns fast. So the way I tan is I burn first, and then I tan. So, so I was like, oh, awesome! I'm gonna get my native tan on, right? And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I've got these other bloods in my bloodline too that they burn first before before they tan. So that's what happened to me. So you are seeing me post burn, and that's why I now have a little bit of glow. No longer do I look like a lobster. But so this is I learned so much in Mexico, in Holbox. And, we are in powerful times, people. We are in powerful times, and you get to have the experience that you want in this life. You get to have the impact you want to make in this life. You get to have the pleasure and the abundance and the wealth in this life. Money is not evil, people. That too is old paradigm. It's not part of the old patriarchy. What was my favorite saying back when I was a punk rocker? Yeah, down with the capitalist patriarchy. That was my thing. That was the thing I love to say, right? That's dying already. Okay, so we cannot source the capitalist patriarchy. It's dying already. So we get to create what we want to create. You get to create what you want to create. You get to have what you want to have, but it will take commitment on your part. It will take surrender on your part. It will take you opening into receiving and being into the possibilities of what you get to experience and create on your part in order for you to get to that next level. Because if you're expecting to get to the next level, doing the same exact thing, not changing anything, not getting out of your comfort zone, you will never get to that next level. And you deserve to get to that next level. So next week we are on, taking a look at my calendar right now, we are on for Monday, March 7th. Can you believe it? We're going to be in March. And so that is going to be the next Rise Up with Margarita episode. And it'll be another topic. We're going to delve into something juicy. And in the meantime, thank you for being here with me, taking your Monday afternoon or morning, wherever you are, spending that time with me here and allowing yourself to upgrade, allow yourself to receive these upgrades, right? Because even as I'm sharing, I'm already sharing my codes, right? Because it shows up in everything. It shows up in video, it shows up in photos, it shows up in, I mean, if you saw that photo, and actually I think I'm going to post this on social media sometime this week, but like the sun rays, like I posted it on my stories. So, if you want to see things for the first before anything, check out my stories, because that's where I post my stuff first. But I took a photo on 2/22/22 after the activations that, I was in and doing as well. And the sun had multiple halos and the rays of light were, it was tremendous. It was just something I've never seen before. It was just like, that sun, Solaris, was full on emanating light vibes, sun codes, sun codes, sun codes, sun codes. So I'm going to be sharing some of that this week. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope this really served you today. And if you want to make some comments upon replay or, even after this broadcast, I encourage you to do that. So yeah, Lisa says, I saw your pic. Yeah, it was amazing. I was just like, I had to pick my jaw off the floor after taking that photo. I was just like, damn, that is some light codes. So, okay, so much love, light, and power to you. Have an amazing week. And my challenge to you is to choose one of those 5 things I mentioned earlier today, and apply it to yourself, to your life, to your lifestyle this week. And if you want to share in the comments below after you've done so, I encourage you to do that, because I will be checking my comments. Sometimes when these posts, like the reels, for instance, once they get a little older, I might not comment as much on them, but I do see them. So have a wonderful week. Rest of the week, everyone. Much love, light, and power to you.